The Gene of I is probably the best anime you're not watching this season. It's an eerily realistic episodic series about the relationship between artificial intelligence and humans, and how technological developments impact society. It explores very fundamental philosophical questions like what makes us human and the moral complexities of right versus wrong. It's a show that sadly got overshadowed by the other series airing this season, but it's certainly worth checking out. The show dropped at a very opportune moment since you really can't go online these days without seeing an article about the rapid pace of AI advancement. Hell, even this video was written with the help of ChatGPT. I got no shame in my game. But the point is, AI is here to stay and it's going to continue advancing. What's important is how humanity interacts with it and how we allow it to shape our lives. Technology can be a wonderful tool that can enhance our lives and allow us to achieve things that were previously thought impossible. With that possibility also comes the question of just how far should we go? Just because we can do something, is it right to do it? In addition to the philosophical themes, what I really like most about the show is that instead of the usual Terminator end of the world style of dealing with rapid advancements in tech, it's a much more grounded and realistic story. Every episode focuses on a different scenario in which people are confronted with moral conundrums. Whether it's removing people's ability to feel emotions, altering memories with tech, teaching androids how to do human jobs, or allowing robots to teach and study alongside human kids, the issues all feel real. We may not live to see some of these things implemented in the real world, but at the rate things are going, it's not outside the realm of possibility to think that humans will one day walk side by side with androids or robots. In the world of Gene of I, there's three distinct groups of life forms. You have your standard human beings like you and I, and then there's humanoids who are basically androids. They have human appearances but are a mix of cybernetics and flesh and blood. Then lastly, you've got your straight up robots who look like, well, robots. So far in the context of the show, the biggest plotline we've seen with the robots is whether or not they should be able to attend school with humans. In one episode, a robot is sent to an elementary school where he's quickly accepted as part of the class and makes friends. However, because his neurological system is connected to multiple other robots who are attending various schools across Japan in an effort to learn human behavioral patterns, some of his other selves, if you will, go through some bullying which he's ultimately able to overcome, and he leaves the school with a positive impression of humans. This was actually one of my favorite episodes of the series because it was so applicable to real-world scenarios. Not even just from a technological standpoint, but in terms of the standard fear of other that humanity has dealt with for much of our history. But I'll come back to that later. As I said before, humanoids are the third character group in this story. Humanoids look exactly like humans, but they're not given the same sort of treatment. They go through a lot of discrimination, and while their work is valued, they're not valued in the way that a human would be. They also don't have the same sort of rights and protections that a person would. In this world, it's not uncommon for a human to live with or date a humanoid, and they even blend in with everyday society. The only distinguishing feature being their slanted pupils. Other than that, they act like we do, they think like us, and they've even shown a propensity to fall in love and develop human emotions. Which again, goes back to the big theme of the series: what does it mean to be human? Is it just being conscious of your environment, being able to rationalize and feel things like love and loss? Or is it something more arbitrary that's harder to define? Throughout history, humanity has had a tendency to go back and forth on just what it means to be human. At various points has been determined by religion, skin color, and even social class. For example, during the colonization of the New World, the natives were not viewed as humans simply because they weren't Christians, or slavery in North America, which was simply because people were black. So depending on the era, humanity has given and taken rights from groups that were obviously human based purely on ideological reasons. So what's to stop it from happening in the future? If technology gets to the point where we have real-life cyber waifus and thick androids walking around, will they really be viewed as humans and respected? Even if they feel, think, and empathize like we do? And that right there is why I really like this show. It's a near future setting, so it's not too unrealistic, and it's a world where technology that we already have today has just become more advanced. It's more of a natural progression of the world rather than a fantasy made up one. Nothing in the Gene of I feels far-fetched or over the top. It's a very grounded narrative that makes you question and even defend your own positions. I myself have found myself watching this show and questioning how I would feel in certain situations. Even as a robo-waifu enthusiast, I have to admit I'm not sure how quick I would be to accept them at the same level of humans. Which got me putting my philosophical hat on and thinking, maybe being human for many of us is about sharing a collective experience rather than just what we see on the outside. For example, in the aforementioned groups, even though the people they encountered in colonial times looked just like human beings, they had 2 eyes, a nose, and 2 ears, because they were from a different culture that was seen as inferior, it was easy to kind of separate themselves from them. It's really not until you sit down and have a conversation with someone, maybe over a nice meal, that you really begin to understand how similar we are. And I think that's ultimately the thing with humanoids and robots in the Gene of I. As an outside observer, it may seem like an open and shut case, but were you to sit down and interact with a humanoid, how could you deny their humanity? How could you deny that they're just like you? What it means to be human aside, another thing I really like about the Gene of I is just how it presents complex questions in a neutral manner. What I mean by that is that things are not always black and white. Oftentimes, in fact most times in life, things are shades of gray. A lot of anime will present the main character as a moral paradigm of good and a struggle against an objectively evil antagonist, but in reality, very rarely are things that simple. People can be good or bad depending on the angle that you're observing them from, and it's really a matter of perspective. Both decisions in a choice can be good, and what makes one right is just how you follow through after choosing one. So you may come away from this show with a robots and AI bad mentality, and that's fine, albeit a bit simple, but I believe you'll come away from this thinking about things in a much more objective and nuanced manner. Maybe you'll have a new reasoning for why you think that, and you'll be able to articulate it better. Either way, it's a very thought-provoking and poignant series that will really sit with you for several hours after you finish an episode. I could honestly go on and on at length about the Gene of I for hours, but it is really something that just needs to be experienced. It's a slow burn, there's not a ton of fighting or anything, but what it lacks in action, it really makes up for in the existential questions that it asks. It's honestly a shame that it aired in such a packed season on a packed day and flew under the radar for many people. It's a very good watch, and if you're a science fiction fan or just a thinking man who enjoys having your views challenged, I think you'll really enjoy it. If you made it to the end of this video and enjoyed it and found the Gene of I an interesting thing, I hope you go and check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Consider leaving a like and subscribing if you're not already subscribed. I upload new anime videos weekly, and now that we're at the end of the season, you can also check out my reviews for all of the big seasonal anime on my anime list, which is linked below. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see y'all on my fall 2023 What to Watch video, so make sure you have notifications enabled for that. Stay safe.